How are you?
Listen,
It's nice to meet you.
I am doing good. I have been looking forward to chatting with you. So it is literally all about you, Nicholas.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me.
So I'm always like ready, Nick, to like hit the ground running. Monster.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Listen, let's do it. It's Friday. Everyone's situated. Let's just do it. The sun is out. Life is good. Let's talk about Lyle. Let's talk about monsters. I always like to go back to the very beginning. How did this come about for you? Like, was this the traditional audition type of process and journey? Is it something that, your agent, your team reached out to, like, the will me back, bring me
Yeah,
back to when it all happened?
yeah, great question. Yeah, it was fairly traditional. So my agent reached out with an audition, and it was just a self-tape. But it was not just any self-tape, it was a Ryan Murphy self-tape. So I knew this one was going to be special, right? I was like, well, I better kind of bring my A game to this, right?
Yeah.
And I coached on it with a few different acting coaches that I was working with at the time. I of course did as much research as I possibly could on the character, and then I also did something quite psychotic because at this time I was living maybe a mile away from the Menendez family house where this all actually happened at.
Wow.
So while I was auditioning for the role, every night I'd walk over there and I would just stand there in front of the house. And like, I don't know how you feel about this or if you believe in like energy or anything like that, but I just sort of like, I tried to really picture everything that I had read about unfolding in that house. You know what I mean? And so it was actually a pretty dark headspace to get into pretty quickly. Um, but yeah, that was some of the things involved in terms of like prepping for the audition, and then I submitted the self tape. Um, they got back to me fairly quickly and said that they wanted to do like a casting callback, and I did a couple of those, and then we did a final callback with Cooper and Ryan Murphy, and that was it. That was all she wrote.
Wait, so the crazy thing is, Nicholas, I am literally walking distance from that location. It's
Are you
it
really?
No, honestly, it is bananas. But I'm very interested to hear and see you're making me kind of go off the segue into a different direction with my questions for you. When you took the visits to that particular home and basically the scene that you would be acting with them for the next couple of weeks and or months, did you go with a journal? Were you taking notes, or were you just kind of pacing back and forth between the proximity of like that home and just taking like deep breaths to what were you doing when you were visiting that area?
I didn't feel that there were at that time at least. I didn't feel like I had many notes to take. I more so felt like I just wanted to ground myself in the reality that these events happened in the real world and they happened at the place that's right in front of me. And that was a big enough of a challenge for me to wrap my head around, right? To like truly process that. Um, that it took me going there every single day to understand the reality of that. And the emotional significance of that, and what that all means. And so I think I was just trying to like, yeah, wrap my head around it and understand that it happened. Like as simple as that sounds, it's like that was the biggest thing I was focused on at that point.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I think like not only going back to living in the shoes of Lyle, but that particular era in general, the 80s, their lifestyle. Like, what was that process and journey like for you taking on this role?
Really interesting. It's almost like doing a I don't know, like some sort of fantasy project because like you it feels like another world, you know what I mean? The 80s. It feels kind of otherworldly, right? And so that was really fun. And I was born in '99. You know what I mean? So like I didn't have any experience firsthand of the '80s, but like
Yeah.
my parents did, albeit they were like kids for it. So I got to talk to them a little bit. Definitely got to talk to my grandparents about it. Um, but I'm also like super into '80s music and film. So like I got to check out a bunch of like really cool references for that. And I think that was one of the ended up being like one of the coolest parts of the shows was that it was like so imbued with that energy and that vibrance of the late 80s and early 90s. You know, it's very cool and such a unique time and
Yeah.
in the world in America and especially Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? Like it's the material girl decade of the 80s and Beverly Hills did it bigger than most.
Legit, like when I tell you I respect and appreciate you so much for like really indulging in the 80s era, you have no idea. I am literally an 80s baby. So in 99, I was like graduating from high school. So you are
Yeah.
very, you're very special, Nicholas. But I want to focus on Lyle and this Menendez brothers story. At any point of this project and saying yes, I am willing, I am able, I am ready to like hit the ground running with this character role. Like, did you have the opportunity to meet, speak, or connect with Lyle or Erik in real life? Like, was there an opportunity for that for you?
It was one of the first conversations that we had with the greater creative team. And when we spoke to the producing team and with Netflix, we basically came to a group decision that we thought it best to not have that conversation before the project was completed. There was so much information available. You know what I mean? Like you have all the court TV footage, which is just hours and hours and hours, extensive um, biographies that have been written about these guys and the people surrounding their lives, like Dominic Dunn and
Yeah.
and their attorneys. So like I think for us, it was just about like combing through all the research that we did have, and the reality is that it's a pretty delicate situation, right? Like these guys are still alive and they're still in prison, and I know that they don't think that they got their fair shake in that second trial. You know what I mean? So it's pretty heated.
And I think like I want to pivot off the aspect of it being heated. This is a very complex story, filled with emotions, trauma, emotional roller coasters, sexual, mental abuse. The list goes on and on and on. I invite me into Nicholas' world, right? I would like to be invited into I want to RSVP into into your psyche emotionally. What type of impact did this project and this character role have on you personally?
So funny. I was in Paris and I met this guy. He was kind of an interesting dude, and he asked me a similar question, and
Mm.
I was like, yeah, I didn't realize what a toll this thing took on me until maybe like 6 or 7 months after we wrapped the project, because I was like looking back at some of like my behavior or just like how I had been it sort of like honestly changed me at a cellular level, that role, because I had the privilege of working on it and prepping on it for as long as I did, and I was obviously quite invested. um and yeah, we one of our conversation turned into, what is the art? Like, is it what you create, or is it how the creation process changes you and alters you as a human being? um and we decided that it's both. You know what I mean? And hopefully everything that you do does change you in some way, and hopefully not even better or worse, but just different after having done something. You know what I mean? Because I think that that means that you cared. You know that um, that it mattered to you what you were doing every single day. Um, yeah.
I always like to kind of try my best to put myself in the shoes of an actor or an actress such as yourself. I do want to make mention that I feel like you are an impeccable actor. You really lean into and live in these roles, and it's very commendable. So I definitely want to extend the flowers your way.
Well,
And
that's very high praise. Thank you so much.
no, yeah, I really mean it. When it comes to balancing your professional career, family, friends, loved ones, booze, people that you may or may not be dating, not trying to get a Nicholas business here, but how do you juggle it all? How do you find a healthy balance in it all, especially taking on a project like the Menendez brothers, but still having to show up and be present for your family, your friends, and your loved ones?
Sure, that's a great question. The reality is that, different times in your life call for uh, different priorities, right? When you're in the middle of shooting a series for Netflix that you know is going to be watched by a lot of people, that has to become your number one top priority, right? And I'll explain why I feel this way, because I'm not sure exactly what the number is in terms of watch hours on that show, um, but I think it's a pretty high number. And so, like, if you look at the amount of human attention that you're commanding with that show, like, that's a lot of man hours, right? That's a lot of human attention and time that you are, uh, that people are using on you, right? And so that comes with a pretty significant responsibility, right? Like, that's not nothing. That's millions and millions of hours of people's time. And so I feel like a great personal responsibility to make sure that when people are investing that time into being like entertained, I want them to walk away from it glad that they sat down to watch it, right? So it's a big job. And this is a long way of just answering your question and saying, when you're working on something that you know is going to have big impact, or that a lot of people are going to go see, or that you hope a lot of people go see, sometimes you just don't have a lot of time for like the other parts of life, and they just sort of take a back seat for a little while. But the reality is, I'm an actor and I'm an artist, and there's really no other way that I'd ever want to spend my time. It's what I was put on this earth to do. So I have a great time doing it. I wouldn't want to be spending my time any other way. But yeah, I feel a large personal responsibility with the time that people give me to watch my performances and the performances of my peers.
Yeah, I would love to talk about the relationship dynamic between yourself and Cooper. Obviously, there was a lot of bonding, brotherly bonding, manly bonding, inside and outside of the characters, right? A lot of trauma bonding. Was it seamless or challenging for, not only yourself, but Cooper to kind of like build that brotherly trust in each
So
other and connect on that emotional level for this project?
yeah, I totally know what you mean. I think the thing that brought Cooper and I the closest together are that we both really cared, right? Like Cooper's a really dedicated actor, you know what I mean? As am I. And I think we just really, really saw eye to eye on that. And we wanted to make sure that we were clicking in all of our scenes. And because we were aligned artistically and that we wanted to make something special, everything else just sort of fell into place.
Yeah. Do you have any personal, so this is going to be a very interesting question.
I'm ready for
Hope
it.
I
Let's
don't
go.
lose my job for Nicholas, but it's Friday. Let's just go for it.
Throw the rules out the window. I'm here
I-
for it.
I'm with it. I love it. Nicholas, do you personally have a stance and or opinion about the entire story in general when it comes to the brothers and like everything that unfortunately, they face the just the broader picture of things that you would be willing to share.
Yeah, I mean, so part of the job as an actor, right, is that you develop a point of view, and a strong one, right? And you have to pick and choose what your character believes and what reality they accept. It would probably be really, really hard for me, Nicholas, to give you an unbiased answer to that question because so much of my personal perspective has been colored through the lens by the fact that I had to view this whole thing through Lyle's lens from day one, right?
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things that's so cool about the show in general is that it tells the story from so many different perspectives. So you could ask that question to everyone in the cast, and they're all probably going to give you a different answer. But I bet you that it would all be colored slightly by the fact that they had to see the show through the character that they played.
And I think making a pivot off the cast, Javier, Ryan
Oh, I
Murphy.
love, I love.
Give me the deets, give me the scoop. What was that entire process like working with those two individuals specifically?
Let me let me tell you what a stud Ryan Murphy is. So at our callback, Ryan comes in and like deck to the nines as always.
Okay.
And we had no idea that he was going to be there. He like totally surprised Cooper and myself. And he sits down with us, like super gracious, takes 20 minutes. He's like, "What questions do you have before we go in and we do this final audition?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and just heard us out and anything that we needed cleared up or tone questions that he had, like he answered them. He already had like very, very specific ideas of what he wanted, and he's brilliant at articulating them, right? That's why he is who he is. And that spirit of generosity and communication was consistent through this whole project. Like he is so generous with his time and his attention, and just and also made sure that Cooper and I were taken care of the whole time. Like he knew maybe from having gone through this a number of times, on so many different shows that these kinds of roles can have a toll on the actors that play them, right? And so he was conscious of that from the onset, which is really, really awesome and amazing that he was that way. Now Javier, I could glow about this guy for days if you let me talk about him long enough.
Listen, it's your day. Today is all about you.
He's such a special guy. Basically what I knew him from was No Country for Old Men. You know what I mean? Like I knew him as being like this terrifying guy, right? And he came on set and he's like bright and he's hugging everybody and he's like, yeah, like put everyone at ease right away. And he was just like kind of an amazing example on set. You know what I mean? Like he's a guy who's had such an amazing career.
Yeah.
He's an Academy Award winning actor, and that we hear about divas. It'd be so easy for anyone who has the colossal career that this guy has to um sort of like breeze through, but not even an ounce of that. You know what I mean? Like nothing but class and being cool and kind and respectful and learning everyone's name. Like he's the man. And he really kind of set the tone for me personally in terms of like the kind of actor that I'd aspire to be. Not just in how creative and inventive he is in all of his scenes, because he brings so many different ideas, and he never does the same thing twice, which is what makes him so freaking thrilling to work with. Um, but also just in the way that he treats people, and it sounds so simple, but like he's just a really, really great guy and super warm and super cool. So yeah, love both those guys to the moon and back.
I actually really look forward to seeing you collaborate and work with them both again, in the
Oh,
near.
I'd love for that to happen. They're both so special. Yeah.
I would love that. I swear I feel like I can literally stay on here and talk with you all day, but I know I have to get ready to soon wrap. And a story that is so dark, so daunting, so somewhat traumatizing. What was the light at the end of the tunnel for you as an actor? Living in Lyle's shoes and that black vintage leather jacket.
What was the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to think about a light at the end of the tunnel. You
Mm,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Because you really kind of get into the headspace of just enjoying the work every day. You know what I mean? And you get so close with the people who you work with and all the directors and the writers, and you work together for so long and for such long hours that by the end of it you really do feel like family.
Yeah.
And so for me, I guess there really was no light at the end of the tunnel. I was quite sad when the show wrapped because uh I just knew I'd miss everyone, and I knew I'd miss working on that show, and I knew how special it felt. Um, but I think if there had to be a light at the end of the tunnel, it was the fact that the show came out, and we got to share what we made with the world, which is a special thing to do.
And if I was like the traditional journalist, that would have been the last question that I had for you. But I have two
Keep
more for you.
rocking. Let's do
Really,
it.
really quick. Where is the black vintage leather jacket? Like, are you on TikTok? Can I go on your TikTok or your Instagram, Nicholas, and see a picture of you in that black vintage leather jacket you took off?
No, but you can definitely watch episode 2 of Monsters again because I'm wearing it in that. But I think it's just in my closet at home. I'm in Miami right now, so it's way too hot. It's May in Miami. I can't be wearing a big black leather jacket.
You want to know what's so crazy, Nicholas? I will literally be flying out to Miami tomorrow.
Will you really? Oh, it's such a fun town. I'm sure you've been before.
Oh yeah, yeah. My son goes to college there, so yeah,
Oh,
I'll
okay,
be out
cool.
there tomorrow. In Nicholas
Awesome.
downtime, what can we catch you watching on television? Quick fire.
On TV, I'm watching The Studio right now, which is amazing. It's so good. Yeah, everyone needs to check it out if they haven't already.
One, two. What is that dream project and or role for you?
Well, I feel like I have the same answer to this every time I get asked, but it's the Nureyev project. It's who was a ballet dancer who defected from the Soviet Union during the Cold War, and I'm just endlessly fascinated by this guy's life. So would really love to make a film about him.
I like that. I respect that so much. I know what you did last summer, July
That's
2020.
gonna be a good time. It's gonna be fun. It's a
Give me
good
some
popcorn flick.
tidbits.
People are gonna love it.
Any tidbits, any spoilers? Is it anything that you can share with me before I close this interview out, Nick?
Absolutely not. I would never do that for this movie, but I will say it's going to be a lot of fun and yeah, get the popcorn ready because it's a good summer blockbuster.
Oh my God. Literally, you are the best. This was the best. Thank you so much for your time. Maybe
So
I'll see
much
you
fun.
out in Miami this upcoming weekend. That would be great.
Yeah, come out, come hang, come party. It's so much fun out here. The weather's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a great time.
Yes. Nicholas, listen, congrats in advance for this upcoming Emmy Award season, everything that's to come for you. I look forward to catching you on the next red carpet or the next Zoom interview. You are the best. Thank you.
Oh, you are too. All right, thank you so much. This has been absolutely lovely. Thanks for having me.